My sister was the reason they fired me. In an effort to protect my sister, they dismissed me, but they had no idea that I was the hidden owner of the entire firm they had worked for. My sister, supervisor, and self-proclaimed best friend were the three individuals that supported my dismissal. They removed my ID badge with a smirk, as if I were garbage that might be discarded. Silence engulfed me. With a suppressed smile, I merely gazed at them. Because they had recently fired their actual owner, something they were unaware of. You will feel the full force of this story's impact if you have ever been disregarded, betrayed, or ridiculed. This vengeance will render you speechless, so make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Mike, the unappreciated IT man who repaired malfunctioning printers, was me 6 months ago. My presence would often go unnoticed, even though I was the lifeblood of the business. I was instrumental in getting my sister Ashley hired by the firm. She was employed thanks to my pranks, and I trained her personally. Everything changed, though, as soon as she became close to the son of the CEO. All of a sudden, people started ignoring me in meetings. Some emails were inadvertently deleted. Others, teams were given the reins to the projects I had begun. The last strike followed. Ashley falsely accused me of misusing business data in a complaint she made. The human resources manager, who turned out to be her college pal, smirked as she slid a termination letter into my hands. You get it, Mike. The benefit to the business is paramount. It's not about you. Is it not intimate? I lost everything I had worked for because of her, and she was my sister. That is, until they got a better idea. Simply put, I had accomplished more in my time than they had in their office politics. Number 5. Using my technical expertise to create cybersecurity solutions, I began a covert enterprise with a shell firm many years ago. That fictitious business, its acquisition of shares was gradual. This business in particular. Behind proxies and business, I kept everything secret. Names. Complete secrecy prevailed. Even Ashley couldn't. I signed the last paperwork a week before my dismissal. Officially, the shell company had 72% ownership in their business. Nevertheless, I chose to remain neutral. I was curious to see who would be the first to stab me. She went ahead and did it. On the far side. As a result, I felt like a loser as I left that day, with all eyes on me and rumors flying about. However, I had more work to do. Absolutely not. They held a huge workplace party just 2 days after they let me go, toasting the incoming leadership. With an air of effortless elegance, Ashley entered donning a dress that cost $4,000. As if he hadn't just betrayed me, my ex-best friend Todd stood at her side, champagne in hand. A chuckle escaped their lips. Drinking a toast. Beginning anew is the topic at hand. However, I had already planned an obligatory board meeting for that evening, which they were unaware of. In my true identity, each top executive got a notification at precisely 7 o'clock in the evening. Rapid assessment of property ownership. Presence is necessary. Hello, Ashley. Became perplexed. I don't understand why the board has called a meeting without telling me. Todd said, perhaps it has to do with your promotion. Confirmation of your position as Chief Technology Officer is imminent. Unexpectedly, she beamed. However, that grin would be short-lived. When I entered the boardroom, there was complete silence. The news stunned Ashley. Todd almost lost control of his glass. Uncle Mike, who was the CEO, squinted and said, "Mike, what are you doing here?" I sat down at the head of the table in a composed manner. After that, I passed a file to the board's attorney. Here are the papers that prove ownership. It could be helpful if you read them aloud. The attorney appeared bewildered. Not until he opened the document did he do so. His brow furrowed in surprise. No way is this correct. According to this document, Sinet Global, a holding company, currently owns the majority of the firm's shares. And now he was looking at me. So, these documents show that you are the only owner of Sinet, right? Every sound faded out of the room. Whispered by Ashley was a low note. Am I correct in thinking this is a joke? Just an IT person, that's all. I was your IT guy, I corrected her while staring at her. Your paycheck exists because of me now. All bodies froze. In hushed tones, The board members started to discuss something. Furious, the CEO got to his feet. "You conned us. You secretly left us." I bent over. "Yeah, I used what you showed me to play the game. You simply did not anticipate that the IT loser would be able to defeat you." Ashley's complexion became pallid. The blinking wouldn't stop for Todd. Standing motionless as if someone had cut power to his head, our uncle, the CEO, rose to his feet. I just sat there, quietly allowing the stillness to crush me. There was a constant reminder with each passing second. The same guy they had set out to destroy had just been granted power by them. Mr. Clark, a board member, cleared his throat. "Are you saying that, Mike, you've been secretly buying shares the whole time?" Then I gave a thumbs up. "No word for 5 long years. As you made fun of me, disregarded me, and ignored my presence, I was quietly amassing the company's assets." The table was hit by Ashley's hand. "Wow, this is really ridiculous. You played a supporting role. You were too cowardly to even raise your hand in meetings. I don't know how you managed to cope with everything." I gave her my undivided attention. I didn't fritter away my time playing games at work. I was busy constructing an empire as you chased after titles. Everything was verified by the board council. Legal. Valid. Cannot be undone. After that, 2 bombs were detonated by me. Owning the company isn't my only goal here. Let me make a change. As a result of their unethical behavior, the following executives are being fired immediately. Over the table, I slipped yet another folder. Within were documents, emails, commercial dealings, reportedly altered data. The name Ashley appeared. On top. Angry and yelling, "You're doing this because you're jealous," she grabbed the folder and frantically looked through its contents. Simply put, I made progress. As I gently stood up, I firmly stated no. "You betrayed me, so now I'm taking this action. Plus, this business sees you as a liability." A perspiring Todd leaped in. "Hey Mike, I'm just a buddy. Hurry up, dude. Forget about it." My voice remained steady yet pointed as I faced him. Allies don't betray one another for the sake of a speedy promotion. You may have got out of there. In its place, you became one of their number. After that, he remained silent. The board was compelled to act. Full vote power was mine because of my ownership share. It only took me a few minutes to get them out of their positions. However, I had more work to do. I retrieved 3 letters from my folder. Put away. I distributed one to my uncle, Todd, and Ashley. "Here are your last paychecks." Dismissal was part of it. "You have been dismissed." Ashley sounded quite nervous. "This is totally out of your league. We can't be erased." Staring her down, I made eye contact. "You let me go so you could keep yourself safe. Here I am merely paying it forward." Everybody was staring at me as I strode out of the boardroom. On my way to the door, though, I stopped to say goodbye. "Will you be attending the business retreat in Bali next month? This is ongoing. Just by yourself." But the following action altered the course of events. I assumed it had ended. Their dismissal seemed like it would be the last straw for me. I had no clue they would resort to such extreme measures to eliminate me. I began to receive weird calls 3 days after that. Silence fell. No response whatsoever. After that, emails began to pour in. Death threats made by unknown individuals. False claims in court cases. False assertions regarding corporate wrongdoing. In the beginning, I paid them no mind. Ignored it as background noise. However, my condo was broken into. There was no theft. I had my laptop open though. Data files. Got access to. A message was conveyed. I reviewed the surveillance footage. The person who possessed my old keycard had used it. I used the same one when I was merely an IT guy. The keycard system was still only accessible by 2 individuals. Todd and Ashley. I had a feeling. Their hands were in it. I had no idea they were in such a state of desperation. Ashley attempted to start her own IT firm utilizing stolen company files after I dismissed her, which I learned about later. Investors discovered the scandal when they conducted a background check. Touch was a taboo subject. That one. There was a blacklist that included her. Where does Todd stand? He returned to a rival company in a state of desperate need of employment. Still, word got out about what he did to every single company. They believed I had let it slip. However, I remained silent. They started to plummet, hardly crashing. To top it all off, they said I was to fault. So, they settled on a single, conclusive strategy. An approach to utterly derail me. Yes, it did. There was an annual shareholder meeting of the corporation. I was the majority owner for the first one. It was ideal in every way. This is the presentation. The figures. Upon my assumption of control, profits skyrocketed. Mike Williams is a con artist. Someone yelled from behind me as I came onto the stage. He made off with our business. Ashley was the one. She approached with a large file in her hand as hundreds of shareholders, board members, and journalists milled about. While displaying the information, she asserted that it demonstrates that Mike's holding business utilized illicit software and front organizations. This firm is not legally owned by him. A hush fell over the room. I was the center of attention. Just one slip-up. Everything may be lost to me. The standing I've earned. This is my employer. Whatever I constructed. The moderator looked across at me and asked, "Mr. Williams, do you have anything to say?" Then I made my way to the microphone. At peace. Cold. So I grinned. "Absolutely," I declared. "Ashley, I was hoping to see you today. Due to the fact that I also brought something. Got my folder out. It contained emails, bank transfers, and audio recordings of Ashley bribing a former employee to sign false documents. I had allowed it to occur. Unchecked, she walked right into the trap. For the simple reason that I inserted a malicious file into the system a few weeks ago and labeled it Ownership Vulnerability. She fell for it. I played a little sampling of audio. She sounded quite clear. It will be disastrous if word gets out. That guy. Importance of veracity is irrelevant. It will be too late by the time he disproves its authenticity. The chamber resounded with gasps. Astonishment washed over the moderator. "Oh my God," muttered one board member. "Ashley, you showed me how to be dirty," I added, turning back to her. "Simply put, I become more proficient at it." Guards led her away. Silence, treachery, and politics were the cornerstones of our corporation, I told the applauding audience as I stared out at them. Nevertheless, it will represent something superior starting today. However, the very next morning, a letter showed up at my desk, just when I believed the game had ended. From a person I hadn't had any communication with for 15 years. There was no name on the envelope. My business address alone. Also, a seal with gold embossing that I hadn't seen in more than 10 years. Slowly, I opened it. One note, written by hand, was contained therein. "The true funders are known to us. Sinnet worldwide. This story contains more than just you. Meet up." My pulse stopped. Just one person in history ever signed their name that way. Carter. Daniel. Someone who was once my business partner. The guy I believed had been killed in a vehicle accident. Half a century ago. However, if he were still living, it would imply that my creations weren't solely mine. In the beginning, when I launched Sinnet, Daniel and I were complete unknowns. Two homeless computer geniuses coding non-stop from a storage unit. Instability accompanied his brilliance. Insatiably selfish. He was the type of person who preferred expediency above careful planning. To a foreign investor, he wished we would sell our code. A very crimson one. Flags. "No way," I said. Following that, something went wrong. A bridge was passed by his vehicle. No sign of life. I continued on. Created Sinnet by himself. So the thinking went. I did exactly what it said to do. A deserted warehouse on the outskirts of town. At midnight. He had already gone by the time I got there. Keeps smirking. And the leather jacket remains unchanged. As if he hadn't disappeared completely. "Farewell, Mike." Emerging from the darkness, he spoke. "You were presumed dead." In response, I spoke up. He chuckled. "Very nearly there. I returned though, because I enjoyed seeing you run the business on your own." He subsequently retrieved a flash drive and hurled it in my direction. "Excuse me, what is this?" I inquired. "The evidence that the seed money for your whole shell firm came from an account I created for you. Thus, I am the rightful owner of 49% of Sinnet. A knot formed in my gut. You can't do that. We lost you. Prior to this, you signed over all assets. I signed it under my own name." He cut in with a smile. "Plus, I'd like to be a part of today. Losses divided in half. Only using half of that energy. Alternately, I reveal all. That which is on the board. News outlets. Your backers. Hello, everyone." It was as if the world had crumbled down around me. I had just vanquished my adversaries. Betrayal revealed. Restored my reputation from ashes. What comes next? Half of my empire was being reclaimed by the specter of my past. My gaze fixed on him. At peace. So I grinned. "I didn't return for command. Because you're short on cash, you returned." His smile waned. 15 years would not have passed if everything was going swimmingly for you. Nothing will work for you. That USB flash drive is deceiving. His voice barely audible, he advanced. "Do you want to place a wager?" I presented him with a packet. "I had a feeling you were still here. How did you finance Sinnet?" "I've been following the offshore account you utilized. A full 6 months ago, I made the purchase." His brow furrowed. "A man's account that has since passed away was wasted on you. Plus, I legally laid you to rest using it. I don't believe you own 49% of anything. A mere specter." Flickering security lights turned on. Entering the room was my private legal team. Daniel retreated. "You introduced us." I said no. "You attempted to remove an article that I completed." I stood there, taking deep breaths, while they let him out. My family had abandoned me. No one from the old world to talk to. There was tranquility, though, and that was beyond valuable. I put up a fresh picture frame when I got back to my office. I was fired, it said. Everything they labored for, though, was mine to keep. I inserted an additional line beneath it. I buried the ghosts as well when they returned. Because there are moments when vengeance is subtle. It will always be there.